Although, isn't that a felony to, like, impersonate a police officer?
I think so, yeah. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, probably not.
Cut this out.
Could we still do the podcast while I'm in jail? Is that how that works?
There is a podcast that I think is, like, hosted by people in jail. I think it's a hit. So, Ashley, could you do that so we can get some listeners over here?
Okay, I'll try my best. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 113, and today we have a very otherworldly topic, depending on how you view dreams, and we are going to be talking about dreams and their significance in cultures around the world, and I'm looking forward to doing some in-depth dream analysis with my buddy, my pal, and my amazing co-host, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello. I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. That's what sometimes my dreams feel like. Please, call the doctor. But first, spread a little love. Follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. You can email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, give us some topic ideas. You know, not that we need them, let's be honest. We could do this all day long with our eyes closed, hands tied behind our back. We don't even need the microphone. You'll hear it. But so other people come and hear it, not just the three that we can't get away from us without the restraining orders. Spread a little love with 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Spread a little love on iTunes and Stitcher. And by the way, yes, we're both still in Michigan. And I've been begging, I've been pleading, we've involved lawyers. I feel like we can work this out, Chad.
It's not going to work. Nope.
I mean, come on.
Not going to work, man. The way you kicked my dog off the porch, it's not going to work.
Listen. I misunderstood. I just misunderstood the conversation. It was a long... We'll get the lawyers involved and we'll figure this out. This is not the time or place. This is embarrassing. But the show must go on. And we have lives to live. That's why. And speaking of lives to live...
Talk that calf out of that heifer.
That's what our lawyers are going to do. And that's what Chad and I are going to do. Because I believe we both went to some meat-based festivities this weekend.
We did. Very meat-based and very non-vegan friendly, I would say.
We didn't plan this, by the way.
We did not. But you know what they say. Great minds think alike. And, or as Germans, got the Werners, that Michigan staple. Very nice. You got an upset tummy, Jared?
No,
I just have nervous before this episode?
I just have a hankering for quality ginger ale, and there's only one place to get it, and that's Werners, everyone.
That's right. I guess our unofficial sponsor of today's episode. You should be on a Werners commercial, Jared. But yeah, so I was in Columbus, Ohio, visiting family, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my niece. And we were in Columbus, Ohio, and we went to the Ribs and Jazz Fest, and there are some pics on our Instagram, so check that out. Unfortunately, as I'm sure most of you who are alive and aware of what's going on right now, if you're listening to this as the episode drops, it has been hot. And so that means that we only spent a couple hours at the festival. My dad and my brother-in-law got some very tasty ribs. I myself am more of a bird kind of guy, so I got some chicken. Also very, very delicious, though. I am that person that would order chicken at a rib fest. But hey, it was tasty. I enjoyed it.
Do you have any chicken nuggets? Does anyone have chicken nuggets?
I was looking for those tendies, my man. Some chicken tendies.
Deep fry them.
That's right.
So Chad posted that picture first. We'll get back to that in a second. Chad posted that picture first, and I thought, oh, yeah? You think you're cool going to this meat festival? Oh, yeah?
Talk that calf out of that heifer.
So I, too, typed into Google, closest meat festival, and I happened to... Turns out, literally across the street, it was a 10-minute walk away. If that. 5 minutes.
Nice.
Pig and Whiskey in Ferndale. And...
did you have some good whiskey?
I did. I had like an icy kind of thing. which was perfect because much like you, I was also suffering from a heat wave. And let me ask you if you experienced this. Not only was it a heat wave, obviously, so probably 90 plus you would say.
Oh, definitely.
But
Most
also, we're
definitely.
surrounded by giant grills.
Yep. I felt so bad for all the workers during the Jazz and Ribs Fest because it had to have been hot for sure behind those grills.
I was super hungry when I got there, so when I first walked in, I did like a quick lap of the rib area. I bet you yours was probably bigger because mine was in Ferndale, which is a much smaller city than Columbus, but still same concept. The alcohol and the food was generally split.
Okay.
So like I did like a quick lap of the food area to see what was there, and you know what really sold me? There was this one place that was. I feel like you just purposely did that to make it worse, but I kind of like the effect. It's almost like you're a creeper on AOL chat.
Yeah,
and
it's the I'm
2005.
trying to get the
Oh, there you
lighting a
go.
little better. There we go.
So what the hell was I talking about? I totally forgot.
The whiskey and the meat was separated.
Oh right. So the only reason I went to the place I went to really, I did say, I was with Sydney, I did say, I want to go to the one that's run by black people. But then also, there was one of those places that they were from the South, and they were like, let me just put it this way. Now, I'm not insulting their meat, but I am saying that I don't know if they're just better salespeople than they are cooks. I'll say, and they're talking about how like best BBQ in the nation. That's what they kept saying.
That
best
is a very
BBQ in the
bold
nation.
statement.
And then one of the guys was like, they had two dudes that were either switching off or working together. He's like, "Where you going? You hungry? You look hungry. You want to get the best BBQ in the nation?" And so we got the best BBQ in the nation.
Was it the
but
best?
Really, more I did. Sydney's a vegetarian, so that it was And I didn't really. I made the mistake of getting two meats. That's a lot of meat, people.
That is a lot of meat. Yep.
I just wanted to test out these meats, and so where I was eating them was next to another truck, and the guy that like worked in the truck across the street saw us eating it, and he's like, "Is it the best BBQ in the nation?" And I was like, I mean, he's like, "I didn't think so."
Yes. Oh, that's great. My brother-in-law did something that was kind of smart, and he would get a quarter rack of ribs, which was like three bones, and would try out a couple of them. But the thing was, dude, it was kind of pricey. Most places it was
pricey.
like $8 for a quarter thing of ribs, which, you know, if you try 2 or 3 of them, that's 16 or what, $24. So that's a little bit pricey.
I'm not eating ribs in public and or mixed company. You got to be out of your mind. That's something you only do with people that you know well and know that will love you through things, because it's a very unforgiving food as far as your face.
Yep,
Not only
very
your
messy.
teeth, it's so prone to getting stuff stuck in your teeth.
Yep.
And then barbecue sauce cannot help but go all over your hands and
it's gonna
face.
be on your hands, your cheeks,
and you have a beard.
your chin. Oh, I know, dude. I mean, when I used to
Probably
have my
had like a
mustache
mountain
longer,
of moist towelettes around you.
and if you have your mustache anywhere past your lips, it's game over. You're gonna be
imagine that.
having barbecue mustache all day long. That's for sure. But I gotta say, man, it was fun. It was cool to check out some of the tunes as well. I wish we could have been there longer to listen to more music, but it was such a hot day that we had our ribs, listened to one of the bands play, then we went back home into the air conditioning.
Speaking of it being a hot day, when I was leaving Pigs and Whiskey in Ferndale, we got a bloomin' onion because, hey, don't judge me, okay?
All right, mate.
There's a podcast I listen to, and they call stuff like that shame eating. But we were sitting down in the shade by where we had gotten the best BBQ in the nation. Oh, and the guy that said best BBQ in the nation. One time, I don't know if it was accidentally or on purpose, said best BBC in the nation. And Sydney and I looked at each other like, did we just hear?
Oh, that's great.
But anyway,
Quirky.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he wasn't wrong. You never know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was like, maybe I mean, he's a good salesperson. Maybe he's selling multiple
funny.
items at once. Any good business diversifies their product portfolio.
That's fair. That is fair.
So we came back. We were eating this bloomin' onion in the shade. Maybe about an hour and a half later, and we look over and we see the people that were serving that best BBQ in the nation laughing and taking a picture of that same best BBC in the nation guy sleeping on a bench in the shade.
He must have been having some whiskey while he was making his BBQ or doing his sales pitches.
Maybe.
You know what's
But it was
crazy
hot
though,
out
Jared?
there. Stay hydrated.
I didn't realize
people.
how many. That's true. I didn't realize how many different awards and competitions they have for ribs and for barbecue and barbecue sauce and all this stuff. It's crazy.
You know, when I saw that picture that you posted on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, I thought it was ridiculous, that giant banner. And then, like, a couple hours later, I went to the exact same thing. I was like, this is not just...
I was super confused when I saw that picture on Instagram because I was like, why did Jared repost what I just posted yesterday? And then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, wait, that's something completely different. But it looked so similar.
Did. I can imagine that. That
it
makes
really
sense.
did look so similar. That's for sure. Well, Jared, I think it's time that we
spread a little love. I'm with you.
My first shout out goes out to all of the people who have been out there in this scorching heat, working and helping others. I saw a lot of people giving helping hands, handing out water, stuff like this during the Jazz and Ribs Fest. And I'm sure there were plenty of other good deeds going on while it's been so hot out, and it's fantastic. But my next shout out,
I heard today that, sorry, just real quick, I heard today on what you're saying that over 300,000 people in like the southeastern Michigan area lost their power too. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I'm not bragging. Listen, it could be me too, but a lot of people around me lost their power and stuff, and I was like, oh.
We had brownouts here in Dexter.
What's a brownout?
When the power goes out and then it comes back on shortly thereafter.
Okay, that's what. For my boss was one of the people, and he said his power went out at like 9 and came back on at like 2 in the afternoon the next day.
Okay, yeah, that's not ideal. That's for sure.
All right, spread a little love.
Let's do it. My first one goes out to the New York Jets linebacker Brandon Copeland, because he has been doing quite a few things off the field. So he plays for the New York Jets, as I mentioned. And he seems like a really bright guy. So he's
got a lot of free time because he's never going to the playoffs. All right. Slipping on Gator piss.
Spread the love,
necessary.
Jared.
That was not necessary. I don't even like or care about football.
So anyways, Brandon Copeland is a Wharton School graduate and has spent 2 summers interning at the investment bank UBS in college. He also took an off-season job on Wall Street in 2017. But what's interesting is now he is starting to teach a financial literacy seminar at his alma mater, which is actually at Penn.
Yes.
Alongside Dr. Brian Peterson, which I think is awesome. So he's going to be teaching a class called Life 101, which covers the realities of life and what we have to deal with, such as things about how to invest, plan for retirement, and build credit, which, to be honest, it's a useful thing for college students, but I think this should be going on actually earlier in high school. But I think it's great he's willing to give back, teach these lessons, and I hope that a lot of these students will really enjoy his lessons. I think it's great he's giving back in this way. It's really awesome.
I agree that it should go back to high school, but definitely if you're going to be teaching people, I guess start with the older people because it's going to affect them quicker. But I love this stuff. I mean, people don't know this, but I'd say 50% of our conversation these days outside of the podcast has to do with finances or investing or like buying houses and stuff and how to do that and how to save and all that.
Yeah, it's important. It's important life skills that, I haven't, not to bash on any of my math teachers in high school, but I have not yet had to use Pythagoras' theorem, but I definitely have been.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
That's right. You better believe it. But yeah.
But
so,
that's the tough thing about that stuff is you have to like actively find it. Mm-hmm. You can't just you won't just naturally start doing that. You have to teach yourself.
Right. You have to seek it out and learn it.
A lot here at the Untranslatable Podcast.
That is true. Very, very true. My next shout out, Jared, goes out to, and I've done this quite a bit. We've been giving this country a lot of love, but they deserve even more. And Kenya has now launched their largest wind power plant in Africa, and they're hoping to be 100% green energy by, take a guess when, Jared?
2040.
2020.
That's in a couple months. What are you talking about?
Yep.
The entire country?
Hoping to be 100% green by 2020. That's
what does that mean, 100% green?
100% green energy. I'm assuming 100% renewable energy would be my assumption.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% renewable energy. So this farm is called the Lake Turkana Wind Power farm, or LTWP, will generate around 310 megawatts of power to the national grid and will increase the country's electricity supply by 13%. So I think this is really awesome, and I hope other countries will follow suit. I think it's really great that they are doing so much with green energy in Kenya, and it's just really awesome. So our hats off to Kenya. We send all of our love out your way and hope you can reach your goal of 100% green energy by 2020.
Sorry, I thought that was something else. I guess that works too, though.
That does work.
But I meant...
Brilliant.
That's what I meant to be.
That is rather brilliant. Do you have any shout-outs, Jared?
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person. Shout out to the Pig and Whiskey. Shout out to Austin Bateman and Anna Hargrove. I ran into them at Pig and Whiskey the other day.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
There you go.
Nice. Well, I have one last shout-out, and this is quite the shout-out. So this gentleman named Dale Schroeder, who was an Iowa carpenter who worked for 67 years and saved just over $3 million, used his life savings to send 33 kids to college.
Damn, that's a lot of life savings.
Yep.
Man.
So, and actually,
do you just only read financial things at this point in your life?
You never know, Jared. I can't reveal all my secrets to our listeners. But what's
true.
crazy is he actually passed. This is what's really crazy. I just realized he passed 14 years ago. But now this has been the last cohort of what they call Dale's kids who have graduated college debt-free. So I think
Jr.?
it's really amazing.
Probably not.
Did a much better job than Michael Scott on The Office giving out laptop batteries. So that's always good.
Yes.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Scott's Tots, and I'm sure you will not be disappointed.
I know the show you're talking about, but I only vaguely remember that episode off the top of my head. But it doesn't matter because the clock doesn't lie.
That is
Time
true.
for those untranslatables.
That is true. You go ahead and get us started, Jared.
All right. I got quite the collection of languages here today.
Sweet.
My first one is Hungarian, and it's Kenyere lehet Kenny, and it literally means you can spread him on bread.
So is it like they're really skinny?
No. I don't even understand where you would come up with that.
You can spread him on bread. Can you give me a clue?
My neighbor across the street, she is handicapped. She's older. She's maybe about 85, 90. So I get her mail for her. Sometimes I'll pick up her groceries. Sometimes I'll sneak out in her Corvette that she bought 20 years ago but only has 3,000 miles on it and do burnouts in the middle school parking lot. And she, as far as she knows, what she calls me is, what she says to me when, you know what I could have just said? This is my piano teacher I'm talking about. And whenever she introduces me to people, she always says, you can spread him on bread.
It's like you're just a great person.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
He's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, and luckily since you're good-hearted, this loud ham horn won't alert you to the point of cardiac arrest.
That's right. Well, Jared, I'm glad you got a plethora of languages because I decided to get a little romantic today. A little bit of this was spurred by our song of the pod, which we'll get to later, but I have Italian and Spanish today. So I want to test your Spanish as well. So here we go. So the first one is Spanish, and it is Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Do you know what that means? Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres.
Eres is like, see, listen. Is that some sort of form of
is?
is?
Or
Like that's
are.
like the
verb to
infinitive
be.
of... Okay.
Yeah, the verb to be. So it is...
That's the least important word in that entire sentence that I just gave you.
Kind of. That one's...
Listen,
I
try to learn. I'm trying to learn Spanish by watching one episode of Falsa Identidad every 2 weeks. So bear with me here.
Baby steps, people. Baby steps. So this means tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are.
Oh. So you can judge a person by their friends.
Yep. Very good.
People keep saying that to me. I don't understand why.
Probably has nothing to do with the Untranslatable podcast, that's for sure.
No.
Many fregista.
My next one is Lithuanian, and it's Garmanotos Mintis. And it literally means curly thoughts.
Curly thoughts. Is this like when your mind is going 100 miles per hour?
No, but I like where your head's at.
Okay. You like where my curly thoughts are?
I'll
Does it
show
mean
you
you're
what my curly
confused?
thoughts are, baby. Now, the reason I did that's an example of curly thoughts.
So to flirt?
Wow. No. That's not what it is.
No?
I mean, it could be, if that's your style.
You never know. To each their own. What is it, Jared?
That's part it's a dirty mind.
Oh, okay.
Slipping on gator pins.
We'd say your mind is in the gutter.
Yeah.
Okay. Curly
I tried
thoughts.
flirting with you in a gross way as an example of it.
Right. Gotcha.
I thought that was clever, but it didn't work. So
it was clever. I'm just not clever enough to pick it up. It's all good. My next one is Italian for you, and it is.
Okay.
I just
Many fregista.
I can't speak Italian, but I love trying to just say it the way I would think an Italian person says it. I'm sure it's wrong, but here we go.
Get your hand ready.
That's right. Get maybe even both hands if you're really trying to get into it.
Close
It
your
is
eyes.
dolce far niente, which translates to sweet doing nothing.
Is that like couch potato?
Very good. Yeah. Basically, it's like doing something that is like doing nothing. Taking a little stroll, plopping down on the couch and binge watching Netflix.
Yeah.
Sitting on the beach. Yeah, just doing nothing.
Listening to the Untranslatable podcast on repeat. That's not
right.
doing nothing, actually. That's work. Because
That's
you're
a lot of learning, too.
And you're
That's
laughing
right.
hard. It's exhausting. My last one is Swahili. And it's tui rai spore loop. And it means walk in two lines.
Walk in two lines. Is this like not having all your eggs in one basket?
Why don't you have all your eggs in one basket?
Because if the fox comes and eats my eggs from basket A, I have all of them in...
Simple. It's simpler than that. Relax.
Okay.
We're going to figure this out. If you don't have all your eggs in the basket and you walk in two lines...
It's just like to have your options open, right?
Literally walking in two lines. When do you walk in two lines?
In two lines. When you're drunk?
There you go.
Really? Okay. All
It
right.
needs to be drunk to walk in two lines.
Oh, I like that one. So, Jared, do you want a Spanish one or an Italian one to end our
Spanish, of
untranslatables?
course. Come on.
Okay, here we go. A falta de pan, buenas son tortas. Which
Tortas
means
is cookies or something?
cakes.
Bread? Cake?
Yeah, a falta de pan.
Bread.
Pan is bread, yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's the
So
same
that
in
means
French.
a falta de pan means if we don't have bread. Buenas son tortas, cakes will do. If we don't have bread, cakes will do.
Now who has the dirty mind? Slipping on gator piss.
Not cake in that way.
Where it's like there's an English untranslatable that's smoother than what I'm about to say, but it's like making the best out of a bad situation.
More or less, or I would say making do of the resources you have at your disposal. But yeah, I think the judges would give that one to you.
There you go.
I think they'd give that one to you. That's for sure.
Just a tiny bit of it.
That's right. Well, Jared, I think it's time that we get a little dreamy, and let's talk about dreams and their significance in other cultures. And to start our main segment today, I would just like to explain to our listeners out there, this episode idea, this topic idea was spurred from me having some crazy dreams the last few days. And I was wondering, what could these mean? You know, for some people, dreams may have little to no significance. They might just think, well, it's just the way your brain recaps what happened during the day. You know, what you're thinking about, whatever. However, there are other cultures in Asia, Native American tribes as well, that believe that dreams are very significant and they have a lot of different symbolic, spiritual, metaphorical meanings in life.
I don't know where this is. Maybe we'll get to this. We'll see. But also, by the way, I have in different countries the most common dreamed about things by like children.
Oh, cool. Okay, perfect.
But also, I forgot what I was gonna say. What did you keep going? I'm sorry.
You're good. Yeah.
excited.
So I
like
had
your
some.
shirt.
Thank you. I had some good times, right? I had some strange dreams, as I mentioned, and I've always enjoyed kind of playing devil's advocate and thinking about, okay, well, what could this mean, right? Because who knows? Maybe there is some meaning, whether it be a spiritual meaning, maybe it's like something related to your future. I know at least in a lot of Chinese, ancient Chinese culture, they believe that dreams were like a key to what might be happening in your future. So what I want to do with you, Jared, before we get into some of these different countries and cultures, I want to give you some of my dreams, and I want you to tell me what they might represent. We'll play a little game. We'll see what Jared thinks. So,
You know, I actually had a dream this morning that I was going to bring up too, and I forgot it.
oh no! And some cultures would keep. I know in ancient Egypt they would keep a dream book where they would write down what happens. And I know some people too in the States who do this. I have a few friends who do this. But the key with this is you have to have the notebook next to your bed, and you have to write it down right as you get up, because that's the weird thing is we forget our dreams very, very quickly, and I
you
don't
start
know why.
filling in the holes. You know, you kind of start making it up too. I think.
Right.
When that happens.
So I'm going to give you one dream, Jared, that it's been kind of a reoccurring dream, and I'm curious to see what you think. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners out there can probably relate to this and have maybe had a similar dream. But I have this dream. It almost looks like it's in this weird like anime kind of black and white cartoon where I'm running away from. I never get a clear view of what I'm running away from. It's like dark and the colors are kind of black and red. And I'm running away from this like silhouette, this figure. And I'm running and I go up to the top of this building and I'm running. And as I look back, I hit the edge of the building and I fall and I wake up right before I hit the ground. What do you think that could mean, Jared?
Well, I mean, there's the obvious. You're afraid of something. You're not facing something that you know. There's something bothering you that you're trying to get away from, and it's sort of a way of telling you that your subconscious telling you know something's inevitable that you're maybe afraid of dealing with. That would be my guess.
Okay.
Maybe you're really hungry, and since you're back, you're like, I heard Jets does Cajun and garlic crust halfsies on a pizza. There are multiple options. I'm going to go with A, though, just to be fair.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've been told that the falling dream means that you are worried you won't reach your potential in life. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Obviously, a lot of this is up to your own interpretation.
Falling is a common one. I have a dream for you. Well,
Okay.
this is more of a theme. Let's put it this way.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I used to often have dreams, and I was pretty good with dreaming when I was a kid. I could almost sort of like plan it if I wanted to.
So you were a lucid dreamer.
Sometimes, yeah. It was creepy,
Cool.
but I loved it too.
It's really cool.
I can't
to be
do
able
it
to lucid
anymore
dream.
though. It was probably easier when I was an empty-minded child. But now I've got bills to pay.
Maybe.
Son. I don't have time for this.
So tell me about your dream.
When I was younger, I used to often have dreams, and various plays on this dream involving me being a spy or secret agent of some sort. Almost Black James Bond-esque.
Nice. Okay, you want me to analyze
It
that?
was it was honestly just various themes on that.
Okay.
You don't have to analyze it, I guess.
Do
if
you
don't
remember?
want to.
Do you remember any of your adventures as Jared Bond?
It would be a lot of snow-based adventures.
Nice.
It would be a lot of maybe like stopping the world from ending kind of thing. Like
Okay.
I'm never really in it for a woman. I mean, there's always some, it's James Bond, so there's always some sort of
Well, you also said you were younger when this was going on too, though, right? So I
Did
think
I
that
mention
might also
Halle
be-
Berry was in this dream?
Yes.
Now help me
nice.
explain. Help me understand this dream I'm about to tell. No, I'm kidding. No, but it would usually involve me saving some sort of like saving the world kind of thing. So
Okay.
it was never like to save some lady. Like there wasn't anyone tied to train tracks. It was
Okay.
more like, I don't know. And it was always like, yeah. That was really
I'm
it.
gonna analyze
And
it, even
it
though
was
you
a very
didn't ask me,
broad
Jared.
theme because, like, I had plenty of these dreams and variations on dreams based off of me being a spy or secret agent of some sort.
I
or
think-
assassin
Ooh,
too.
okay. All
Although
right.
now we're crossing lines here.
That's
legally.
true. Well, if we just go with the James Bond motif, I think it could represent that you view yourself as someone who will be doing important things in the future, and you want to maybe help people.
Killing people.
Yes, by killing people, of course, definitely. Interesting. I had a really weird dream, though, while I was in Columbus over the weekend, where I was at this party at MSU, where I went for grad school, and there were all the Fulbright language teaching assistants who were there. It was like a sunny day out, maybe even like before one of the first football games of the year. I'm not sure, but we were all sitting outside drinking, which makes me think that it was like a tailgate. You were also there, buddy, of course.
Yes.
My buddy Shane was there.
You betcha.
And we were talking, and we're drinking and stuff, and we're kind of walking around campus. And this is the weird thing about my dream. And this is what kind of weirded me out as I was walking. And then one of the girls that used to be a Fulbright language teaching assistant at my school was kind of like flirting with me. I was flirting with her, and we're walking down the street. And then across the street, I see my ex-girlfriend sobbing. She's in tears, and her twin sister and her friends are like comforting her. What do you think that dream could represent? I have no idea. It was so weird. I woke up, and I'm like, what just happened? Those are always the craziest dreams, when you wake up and when they seem so real that you're like, wait, what?
Have you ever had one like that where you like almost kind of spoke and someone said like, what? And you're like, oh, I was just dreaming.
Oh, for sure. I've woken up before while I've been like speaking in my dream, and that's woken me up before. What do you think that dream represents, Jared? I have a couple ideas, but I'm curious what you have in mind.
I would say it's. When you woke up, how did you feel?
Confused? Just confused.
Sad, happy.
I don't really think I felt either. Just confused, and I guess I was wondering why my ex was crying. I was wondering also why I was flirting with the girl I was flirting with. I mean, she's a cutie, but it was never like that. We were always just good friends. So I don't know, just confused. Like why was I doing what I was doing? Why were some of the things happening around me that were happening?
I would say you're I don't know if the term's projecting. Listen, I'm not a doctor. I'd say you're almost like I've probably a lack of closure would be what I would think it is. And also, whenever someone's in a relationship, you always want to feel like you won the won the breakup or something like that.
Okay, interesting.
I have a friend, I'm not going to say his or her name, but this person was talking about a relationship. This person was in a relationship and they broke up a while ago. And maybe let's say 3 months ago. Okay. And he hit her up. She broke up with him, and he hit her up, and she was like, "Hey, can
you not?
we should hang out one more time before I leave because I'm moving." And it almost seemed like, oh, you just trying to like win this relationship? Is that what it is? All right, yeah, I would think it's just like to me it feels like a lack of closure. Maybe it's or maybe it's a sign of closure, because that sounds kind of nice. Were you fine?
It didn't. Yeah, I was fine, but it didn't make me happy to see my ex in tears.
Well,
to be
that's because
honest
you're a
with
human, Chad. Congratulations. Right? You just trying to brag now?
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, but dude, I think a lot of people would be happy, to see their ex miserable, depending on how the relationship ends, right? I mean, I ended it with my ex. I was the one who decided to break it off. I think it was kind of mutual at that point anyways, though, which is a moot point regardless. But I don't know.
Slipping on gator piss.
It was just weird. It was a weird dream. Yeah, and like I said, I just woke up confused.
Do you enjoy dreaming? Do you enjoy that feeling?
Oh, I love dreaming. I love waking up and thinking about them and analyzing them. But enough about you and I, Jared. We're here to talk about other cultures. The Untranslatable Owl is going off, and it wants us to talk about other cultures. So I want to start off with some of the meanings in ancient cultures, because I just found it really fascinating. So we're going to start off with Mesopotamia, and this is the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates. in case you're not sure, and this is part of what is now Iraq.
And where's the Tigris? You say that like everyone knows where the Tigris and Euphrates is.
It's like I said, it is part of what is now Iraq.
Oh, you did just say that.
Yes.
You know, that's
Yes.
my bad.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
So this civilization in Mesopotamia believed that basically that dreams have signs. Dreams are signs sent from gods, right? And then what's crazy, or not crazy, but just what they did back then is people had their dreams translated by dream priests, which Jared was just my dream priest for all of you out there listening right now.
You betcha.
And these dream priests would, foretell the dreamer's future. And and what's interesting too is they would try to incubate dreams and summon them by means of special rituals during this time period, which I think is really cool that they would try to have special rituals and things to elicit these different dreams, which is really awesome. And a lot of other countries and cultures have similar beliefs with dreams. And ancient Egypt, also took many ideas from the Sumerians, which were in Mesopotamia. They also viewed dreams as messages from God, and they created their own dream book, which is, if you're curious about this, you can check these out in the archives at the British Museum in London. And they had temples dedicated to Serapis, which was an Egyptian god, where special dream interpreters lived. And Egyptians, also like the Sumerians, celebrated rituals. They even gave sacrifices and recited prayers in hopes that their dreams would reveal fragments of their future. The dream of the pharaohs attracted the most attention because they were seen as gods themselves. Given their status, it seemed perfectly natural that the gods wanted to deliver important messages in the pharaoh's dreams.
It's interesting.
Do you associate any bits of spirituality with dreams at all, Jared?
I don't know about spirituality, but I do think there is probably there can be like a prediction of the future kind of thing. But I don't think it's really more predicting the future and more just your brain thinking about your life in a different way, you know? Mm-hmm. Like I don't see it as some sort of, someone telling you something really, in a sense of more just like, this is a part of our brain that we can only access in this time, and you just like that. This is how you're maybe almost to the sense if you want to get if you want to get real spiritual, this time that we're in when we're awake could be like the resting time for when we're sleeping. For all we know, who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
So we could charge up for a good sleep or something.
That's right, a good dream. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Jared, because around 335 BC. The Greek philosopher Aristotle said that human beings are capable of achieving the pure form of wisdom only during sleep when our minds are liberated. So I think this is really interesting as well. And the source of wisdom for Greeks was the Oracle of Delphi, who had an impact on even the most important decisions in the country. So this oracle's prophecies were created based on dreams. So dreams played a significant role in military decisions. If you've ever seen the movie 300, you know what I'm talking about.
Sir, they're coming to attack us. Oh no, I must go to sleep.
As well as family life.
Get me some more milk.
as well. Now, what's also interesting
is melatonin.
What's interesting is Hippocrates, who is regarded by many as one of the fathers of modern medicine, saw dreams as important indicators of physical and mental health. And I would agree with this. I think our dreams do kind of reflect a lot of concerns or things we're looking forward to or anything like this as well, which is kind of interesting as well. And there's even a book. I'm not going to... I'm not even going to try to say it because it's Greek. I do not speak Greek, but they have a book. It's translated into English as The Interpretation of Dreams, which was written by Artemidorus in ancient Greece. And you can still access this book, and this book is the basis for many contemporary books about dreams. So you were doing something good when you were writing this stuff way back when, and it's still used as a basis for many contemporary books about dreams.
Do you have any mundane dreams ever?
Yeah, once in a while. Just some boring
like those
ones.
too. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
It's all great. Sleeping is great. Like, it's great. Speaking of mundane dreams, let's talk about 10 of the most prevalent dream themes in a sample of Chinese students, according to you. Who? No, I'm not going to do that. That's terrible. This is a rush hour. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
Slipping on gator piss.
Now, this was done in 2008, but it's not often that they do these things, I guess. I don't know. And what do you think is the number one... And I have other countries, too, not just China. What do you think is the number one... number one thing that is most commonly dreamed about
In China?
in this sample? Like, what was the most common topic? And it doesn't have to be just one thing. So, like, what was the most common topic?
How old were the participants?
Think
in the
college
study?
students.
College.
And they're
if
doing
it's
studies
college,
on it.
if it's college, then it's got to be either school or future job.
You betcha. School, teacher, studying.
Okay.
What do you think number 2 is?
Number 2. This is in China.
But I'll say this. There is similarity among all the countries. Not exact orders or anything. But remember these once you get them because they will come back later and maybe.
Okay. So what was the first one? School?
Yeah, school, teachers, studying. 95% of people claim to have had dreams about school, teachers, or studying.
Next one is
People
probably...
sampled, obviously.
Right. Next one is probably just future or future job.
No.
No. Okay.
No. Now you're... no.
No. Okay. What is it?
Number 2 is being chased or pursued.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And I think
Sounds like
that
the
also
dream I
really-
explained earlier.
That also starts to fall into the lucid dreaming part too, because there's that lucid dreaming feeling where you can't. Have you ever lucid dreamed?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where you can't move, but it feels like someone's in the room and they don't even know you're there or something like that, or you try to move to get up, but you with all your might you can't lift up your arms.
Is that lucid dreaming or is that sleep
or
paralysis?
Those aren't the same thing.
I thought lucid dreaming was when you could control your dreams actively.
Oh, see, now I thought lucid dreaming was sleep paralysis. When you're in the...
I don't think
Now,
so.
are you telling me I need to
Google
see
it.
a doctor ASAP? It hasn't happened in a long time. to be honest with you.
Probably, yeah. Let's see. I'm Googling lucid dreaming versus sleep paralysis. Let's see.
All right, well, number 3 is falling. That seems kind of obvious. That's what you had too.
Okay, let me guess. Number 4 is... I'm trying to think. I think being on time is really important in Chinese culture, so I'm going to say people are afraid of being late. Am I right, really?
Arriving too late, missing a train.
Oh, man, I had a terrible, terrible reoccurring nightmare when I was with my family in Salzburg after I finished my year abroad in Vienna, because I was worried what would happen is I would get separated from my parents. Well, really what I was worried about is my mom would get separated from my dad and I and would be stranded somewhere. And, my mom doesn't really speak any German. I wouldn't say she's the seasoned traveler that my father and I are. And so I was really worried she would get stranded and we'd never see her again, or I would get stranded and have no way to contact them and get stuck. And some of this was because I was late and I missed the train. That was the whole point for that. So interesting. What's number 5?
Every now and again, and now not often, because I'm starting to feel like I sound like an insane person. Every now and again, but not often, I'll wake up, sometimes valid, and I'm actually late, but sometimes not, and I'll just shoot up and look at my clock, and it'll be 3 a.m.
Right.
And
But isn't that a great feeling though when you look and you're like, oh, I can go back to sleep for a few hours?
Yes, but it kind of gives you the butterflies a little bit. It's a kind of too aggressive of a way to wake up, But yeah, eventually you get back to sleep.
Okay. Give me the rest of them, Jared. Let's hear these.
Failing an examination, that kind of counts as school, and
Sure.
although failing in general, a person now alive as dead.
These sound more like nightmares than they do dreams.
I mean, all nightmares are dreams, but not all dreams are nightmares.
That's true.
Trying again and again to do something.
Oh, that's the worst. Did I ever tell you about the dream I had?
That sounds like sleep paralysis as well.
Right. Did I ever tell you about the dream I had one of my last nights in the Czech Republic?
Mm-mm.
I had a dream. This kind of ties into a couple of these that you've mentioned. I had a dream that I was out celebrating my last night in the Czech Republic, and I got so schmammered that I couldn't find my way home. And when I was looking at my cell phone to get the Uber, I couldn't type in, nor could I even read on my phone. So I had no way of getting it home. And I kept trying to tell like my friends, can you type this in? And they were like, your phone won't work. Like it's on, but it won't type it in. And so I ended up missing my flight and stayed in the Czech Republic.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me as someone that has traveled through a lot and knows you very well. The idea of being stranded, I could definitely imagine that one being a flying or soaring through the air. That's a positive one.
That's a fun one. Yeah, for sure.
Being frozen with fright.
There's your sleep paralysis in dream form right there.
The last one's a positive one too, for most people at least. What do you think
Getting
it is?
it on.
Getting
it on.
There you go.
You betcha.
Sexual
Have
experience.
you ever had any weird dreams, sex dreams about like people where you got up and you were like,
listen to this sometimes.
I don't need to know who the person is.
Just go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, like I had a dream one time where I left a party with one of our professors at Albion, and she was not a very pretty lady, to say the least.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with it. Of course, we all have had that. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we can leave it be. All right.
I have another country though.
Okay.
And now you heard those. You know the general order: schools, being chased or pursued, falling, arriving too late, failing an examination, personnel alive as dead, trying again and again and failing, flying, frozen with fright, sex. Now Germany. What do you think their list is?
You know, I would say Germans are a studious bunch. I'm going to say they're number one in school.
You betcha.
I'm going to say though they're
once again. So.
Okay. I'm going to say they're number two though. I'm going to say Germans. Well, I couldn't really tell you about Chinese people, but at least with Germans, I'd say Germans are pretty open sexually. I'm going to say sex is number two.
I'm going to give it to you. Number three though.
Oh, all right. What's number two?
I think this is this is terrible. Their fears of being chased or pursued, and I was thinking I could kind of understand why they wouldn't want it to. They know that it could happen. They don't want it to happen to them.
Oh, you went there. All right,
I did go
enough.
there. Sorry,
fair enough.
Slipping on gator piss. We do have a lot of German listeners. Listen, I lived in Germany. I loved it. I loved it there.
We both do. Anyways, next up,
arriving too late. That's a common one, I would say.
Yeah,
especially in Germany. Germans get like slightly offended if you show up late. Even or
too early. Don't show up too
true.
early. Don't show up too late. Who are you trying to
impress? Just get here when we said we're going to get here.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think I have other things to do? Person now alive that is dead, of course. Flying, failing, being on the verge of falling. Interesting, not falling, and frozen with fright. One more country.
Okay.
Canadians. A maple syrup shortage is obviously number one.
Also, the Maple Leafs losing in the Stanley Cup final, probably. What other Canadian stereotypes can we make fun of?
Running out of Molson.
not being nice enough to your neighbor. No, give it to me, Jared. What? I'm going to guess.
Walking past someone on the street and not being sure if they heard you say howdy or whatever they say there in Canada.
Hello. Yeah.
Oh, man, they said it to me. I don't know if they heard me say it back.
Right.
I'll send them a card.
What are they, though, Jared?
Being chased. These Canadians are thinking about sex a lot. That's number two.
Okay.
Falling, school, arriving, being on the verge of falling, and all the same ones, except for the last one.
What's the last one?
Vividly sensing a person in the room. That's also some sleep paralysis shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, your sleep paralysis demon.
That's just creeping me out just hearing it.
Jared's getting the chills, everybody.
Oh, man.
Interesting. Well, Jared, I don't know why, but I was looking through different cultures around the world, and for some reason, one that just really caught my attention was the interpretations of dreams in Chinese culture. And so I want to give you some of these, Jared, and we'll talk about them. So, and some of these are really different than what I would think of. So I'm going to give you the like symbolic thing in the dream, and I want you to tell me what you think it might represent, and then we'll talk about it. So the first one is abandonment. What do you think abandonment can symbolize or represent?
Fear of commitment.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think if
am I on the total wrong track?
You are. If I went to, a dream interpreter in China, and I told them I had a dream that was related to abandonment, what do you think they would say? I don't know. Your spouse leaves you.
Oh, you're saying what would the interpreter say?
Yeah.
If you had a dream about abandonment. Mm-hmm. What do you mean, what would they say?
What do you think? How would they interpret it? What do you think?
How would they interpret it? Dream about
It's
abandonment.
opposite of what you would probably think. And this is another reason why I picked Chinese dream culture.
They want to leave a relationship?
No, so abandonment is often viewed as you are about to be given something. So, for example, and I don't know how this makes sense, but if you dream that your spouse has left you, it means your love will grow deeper with your spouse. And maybe it's because knowing that or having that subconscious thought of abandonment.
Who convinced who of this?
Well, here's my theory, Jared, of where this might come from, at least for abandonment. It might be different for some of these other ones. But with abandonment, if you have a dream about your spouse leaving you, you wake up, you're a little... if you love your spouse, you wake up, you're a little shook by it.
Finally! Damn it!
Right. If you really love your spouse, I could see how that would make you think even more about it, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. All right, Jared, what about ancestors? What do you think ancestors could symbolize in a dream? So, for example, if you meet a dead ancestor in a dream, or if your dead ancestor...
obviously. Fear of death.
Okay. Once again, this is opposite. So in Chinese culture,
you want to kill someone.
They view this as a positive thing, not quite. If you meet a dead ancestor in a dream, it means your family is blessed and protected. If the ancestor speaks to you in the dream, you will have financial security.
It's kind of like Coco.
Yeah, a little bit. That's true. Okay. Next is blood. What do you think blood represents? No, it doesn't mean you'll die.
Emotional pain.
No. In dreams that you are bleeding means you will receive immense rewards. I don't know where these are coming from, but this is just how these can be interpreted in Chinese dream culture.
Okay,
what's interesting, though, is I wonder if this has to do with the color red. In China, red is viewed as like a good luck. And also
so it's kind of like an untranslatable. It's not. It's like you're going to be flowing with a lot of money. Or like riches, not money, theoretically.
Exactly. Well, yeah, immense rewards. It could be anything. So what about chariots, Jared? What do you think a chariot can be a symbol of in a dream, according to Chinese dream culture?
GT350R Mustang.
Either or.
Chariots. Success or like celebration. Or
it depends. I will tell you this. It depends how your chariot is moving.
Right. I'm thinking of like after the thing's over and people are waving from the chariots. But chariots are used for like a war, right?
Yeah, they can be. Sure.
Or for like gladiator games.
Yeah, or just basic transportation as well.
Oh, right.
Before we had cars.
That shows where my brain's at.
right. So Jared, chariots are a symbol of how you feel your life is going. So kind of like you said with the fancier cars, you're doing well in life, right? So if you dream you're on a fast-moving chariot, you are making good progress with something. But if you dream your chariot is not moving, you may subconsciously feel your progress has stagnated or stalled. The Chinese believe if you dream a chariot has lost a wheel, you will lose money.
So it could be a GT350R if you're obsessing over that fast ride, thinking that it'll always be there for you.
Right,
that it'll
for sure.
always protect you and make you feel good.
Right. Next up is eating. And in Chinese dream culture, if you dream of eating in an elegant restaurant, it means your social status is on the rise.
Is there anything that's negative?
Dreaming of eating well-cooked meat can mean wealth, so still positive. Here you go, Jared, negative. While dreaming of eating raw meat can mean hard times ahead. Eating rotten fruit is a sign of
raw
approaching
foods in China.
Raw fruit, not food, but fruit.
Oh, but you said meat beforehand.
Yeah, can mean hard times, and then eating rotten.
I guess when these things were thought of, the idea of rotten food was way probably bigger of a problem than it is now.
Absolutely. And eating rotten fruit is a sign of an approaching illness. So if you dream you're eating them fermented apples, watch out.
For some reason, that kind of makes sense to me.
I would agree. What do you think What do you think does it represent if you dream of having gray hair? This is a positive one.
It means that you're gonna live for a long time.
Hit that ham horn, my man. Good job. Very
Don't
good.
Make to scare our gray hairs out there.
What about if you dream of cleaning your house? I think this one's a bit obvious, maybe.
Like you need to clean out your life somehow, socially, financially.
Well, I guess the opposite of that would be yes. If you dream you're entering a rundown or dirty house, you may be entering an unlucky phase of life. But when you dream of cleaning your house, it can mean a guest is coming to visit you, which makes sense, right? Other than you, I usually clean up when I have guests come visit. So, makes sense.
I always joke about saying that, like, people always think my place is clean, but I clean my house like people in the gym work out. Like, it's all the glamour spots. Like, I'm not really doing any deep cleaning, but like I'll sweep the kitchen, I'll put stuff, I'll wash the dishes. But that's just all the stuff that people can obviously see. It's like, oh, don't open that. Don't open that.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Easy. Slipping on gator piss.
That's very true. So those are just some different analysis of dreams in Chinese culture, which I thought was really fascinating.
I found a study, and they talked about some common factors among dreams. Just so everyone knows out there, you are not alone.
Okay, let's hear them.
You're not special. No, I'm kidding. People tend to dream about negative events a lot more frequently than they do about positive events. For example, people are more likely to dream about an attack or an argument than a friendly exchange with another person.
I could see that. I think it's because, unfortunately, the negative tends to stick with us, I think, a lot more easily than the positive, right? Like, the example I have for this is back in the day when I was in high school and even beginning college, I would work at the Dexter Pharmacy, and, I could have 100 pleasant transactions with customers, right? All it takes is that one negative transaction to ruin your day, right? And so I think maybe that's why, for some reason, we tend to have more negative dreams than positive dreams, or maybe we remember them more easily. I think it's really fascinating how, I think in theory we dream almost every night, but you don't always remember it. Right. I think it depends on, the cycles of sleep you're in. I'm no expert on this at all. And it's also important to say there's a lot we still don't know nor understand about dreams.
But we are doctors. But I was also going to say
untranslatable doctors, that's for sure.
I was also going to say that I also think that the thing about dreams is that they're a safe place to like exhibit emotions that you usually couldn't let out in your daily. Or you could, you just don't want to. Or that like if it's uncouth to share feelings, and like your dreams are a safe, self-conscious place to express those feelings. So maybe that's why they're negative, because people tend to hold in a lot of feelings, maybe happy, but also that could lead to anger. Who knows?
I would agree 100%.
1-800-UNTRANSLATABLE, and we'll help you find out.
I would also say too,
we'll be right back.
With dreaming, it's also, I think, sometimes stuff that's buried so deep in your subconscious. It could be events that happened so long ago that like you've kind of suppressed. It could be a traumatic event or whatever, and in your dreams it kind of resurfaces.
Yes.
And I think it's because, at least for the most part, I feel like I can more or less control my thoughts. Right, when I'm awake, when I'm conscious, but when I'm dreaming, you have no control of it. And so I think it's...
Now, speaking of having no control, tell me if you've experienced this. External stimuli often influence dreams. For example, a person sleeping in a really hot room might dream about being in a sauna or being trapped in a sweltering desert with no water. If your alarm clock goes off, you might simply incorporate the noise into the story of your dream rather than actually waking up to the sound.
Yep, that's happened to me before.
That's happened to me before with getting hot, but listen, this was a long time ago, but I specifically remember it happening to me with peeing in the bed.
Okay, sure. I remember a couple, I was pretty young, I think 7 or 8, a couple times I had rolled off the bed and I dreamt that I fell.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I woke up on the floor and I was like,
falling is really common for you.
I guess so, yeah.
Which
is weird because I'm not that afraid of heights.
Well,
But
clearly you're just falling off your bed.
I guess so, huh? Can't stay still when I'm sleeping. But yeah, yeah. Who knows? It's really crazy though. Dreams are really fascinating.
Now, this one seems to be obvious. Men's dreams tend to contain more aggression, but women are more likely to dream about being the victim of aggression or a physical attack. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
I mean, talking to friends of mine who are females, yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
So here are some common dreams across cultures. Being chased or physically attacked. Oh, we already talked about that. Same with Japanese students as well. Throw that in there.
Okay.
Okay, we've actually gone through those. That was it. I just liked those facts at the beginning. I thought those were interesting.
Right. Oh, for sure.
But I covered the other stuff.
Well, Jared, let's continue with our dream segment, and let's talk about a dreamy classical guitar piece. Oh, he's also very dreamy. That's true. But no, so we have a song of the pod today that was composed by Agustin Barrios, who was, I believe he was a Paraguayan guitar composer. It's called Un Sueño en la Floresta, and it's performed by the world-renowned classical guitarist David Russell, and it is truly a dreamy, a mystical, and a beautiful piece of classical guitar music. And what did you think of it, Jared?
My first impression was obviously on his hands. You know, it took me, honestly, a couple listens, but to finally figure out how it works. So he's essentially playing both the sort of a bass line and the melody with his guitar. How many strings does that guitar have?
6.
7?
Six.
6? Okay. And so for a while, I was like, how is he doing this? Is he somehow playing at it with his hands that's holding... Excuse me, that's holding the Werner's got to me. Holding the fretboard? No. Then I realized that it's his thumb that's doing the bass ones.
Yep.
And then with his other 4 fingers, he does the complex melody.
That's classical guitar.
Once I found that very fascinating, I stopped focusing on the hands because I feel like when I focus on the hands too much, I don't really listen to the music.
Sure.
And the first thing that really caught my mind, and you know, I didn't realize it was a dream-based piece. I just listened to it when you sent it to me. Is it sounded very dreamy and like going in and out of dreams by the way he worked the crescendos and decrescendos.
Brilliant. Absolutely, the dynamics. Absolutely.
Yeah. He worked. That's the fancy word I was trying to use. The dynamics. I'll cut that in post. Let's just take that from the top. I really like the way that he used dynamics to. But yeah, so I like that. And then I also liked his hair, and I also liked like it was a very and it was just a very soothing piece, you know. Like I was actually sitting outside on my deck or porch or front stoop when I heard it, and I found myself just sitting there with my eyes closed. It's very easy to kind of get lost in it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and just for our listeners out there, Un sueño en la floresta means a dream in the forest. And I definitely feel like this piece, just has such dreamy remnants of it. Like Jared,
and it's very colorful and light.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it feels like...
Brilliant.
And it feels like, you know, it would be a beautiful dream to have. You know, if I would love if I hope when I go to sleep tonight, this will be the background of my dream for sure. And
that's
David
one of those
Russell,
dreams where you wake up and you're like, you wake up the next morning and you're like,
yeah, exactly. Now, what's amazing about the piece though, Jared, is not only the dynamics and he just plays it so cleanly, but also what we call in classical guitar tremolo, which is towards the middle of the piece, where it has the faster, you know, it doesn't sound good when I do it with my mouth, but and the way you do tremolo
on gator piss
on a classical guitar is you play like one note, and with these 3 fingers, with your ring, your middle, and your index finger, really fast in succession like that, and it gives it this really interesting quality, and it kind of in a way elongates or accentuates the melody a little bit differently than if he would have just played single notes, right? And I think that adds to kind of the mysticalness, if that's even a word it is now, of
mysticality.
The piece. Sure.
Mysticism.
Mysticism,
We did it.
thank you.
We did
there
it.
we go.
Parada.
That's why 2 heads are better than 1, that's for sure. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Now, what's crazy, though, is in the video, at 3 minutes and 8 seconds, he takes a quick pause and slightly turns his tuning peg.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remember that because I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, which is really amazing.
And it's so quick. It's just like
you don't. Yeah, and if you were just listening to it, not watching the YouTube video, you
could
wouldn't
easily,
even realize it.
Yeah,
but
it's just a rest. So, first question before we get into what that was doing. How do you do that quickly and know where to go?
What do you mean?
Like, how did he know? How do you just know off the bat where to twist it to? That's what I mean.
It's easy. I mean, you know which string is flat or sharp, or too low or too high. You twist the peg, and you know this guy's been.
I know how to physically do it.
Right. It's just experience.
I mean, how do you know? Like, how do you find the? It's I guess kind of like playing a trombone almost. Like, how do you find the right note on a trombone? It's like you just learn where to you feel it.
And with me as well, with certain guitars, you just get a feel for it. You know, I know if I twist it this much, you know, if it's a half twist or quarter twist, where the pitch will be. So it's just knowing your instrument. And I mean, this guy's a professional classical guitarist who's toured the world, won tons of awards. You know, so he, out of anybody, would really know how to do this. And what's interesting about David Russell, Jared, is he actually has a street named after him. Even though I believe I think his parents are either Scottish or Irish. I believe he grew up in Spain, actually. And there's a street named after him in Spain. So pretty cool. And he's an amazing guitarist.
How do you say street in Spanish?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
You're the Spanish learner right now. I'm not sure. Street. I have no idea.
I love putting you on the spot, but it would be better for like you don't have any reason to know this. No one expects German or Spanish from you. Okay, I liked it.
It's ulica in Czech, if you're curious.
Very impressive.
But I'm not sure in Spanish. But yeah, it's a beautiful piece. Check it out. David Russell playing Agustín Barrios, Un sueño en la floresta. It's a beautiful piece. And
you've known this guy for a while?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been one of my favorite classical guitarists.
I also noticed, and now I think everyone's a phony, and I have no faith in anyone, but I noticed his nails.
Hmm?
Are those real?
I think they're real.
Oh,
they're real.
Thank you.
Now, what he might do is he might put what some classical guitarists do is they'll actually take a ping pong ball, they'll cut it, and they'll they'll glue the ping pong ball to the underside of their nail. I personally don't do that. I also don't play or practice as much as I used to, nor am I giving concerts. But I think a lot of these guys, a lot of them will use acrylic, like a acrylic thing over top of it just to strengthen them. Some guys do use fake nails, but usually with a nylon guitar, with a classical guitar, the strings are a bit softer, and so you can get away with not having these huge fake nails like John Butler did. That's what Jared might be referring to.
Yeah, the Coke nail.
Yeah, John Butler has some crazy long nails. So check out our Twitter, Untranslatable1, for our Songs of the Pod, and also YouTube on our playlist as well. And it's
You betcha.
I just love classical guitar music, man. I mean, obviously I'm very biased as someone who studied classical guitar,
but I came into the song with no sort of experience, and I told you it definitely can take you to a place very easily.
For sure. That's what I love about classical guitar music, and a lot of it has this kind of mystical dreaminess to it, which I think is really great.
Yes.
So yeah, don't listen to this though when you're driving down the road and you're already getting kind of sleepy. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is not a good road trip at 9 o'clock at night song.
Or 5 a.m. when you're exhausted.
Check out Lizzo's new album for that.
That's right.
My Spanish word of the pod today. I'm back. Now, clearly, it wasn't that word that you just said that I forgot so quickly that I didn't even get it. Literally, I got the SP, I think. And then I was like, I don't even know what the word was.
For street?
Is that the word we were talking about?
Yep. It was.
I wanted to get that. Calle.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Street. There you go. Calle.
Calle.
Oh,
calle.
There's
two L's. Two L's. Yeah, calle. Okay.
Alrighty. That was worth it. My word of the Spanish word of the pod is not calle. It is Señor Lucido.
Which means? Lucid dreams.
There you go.
You mean sueño.
Sueño.
Right, there's an enye, isn't there?
Yeah.
The little thingy and the squiggly over the end. Hey, you're learning, man. Don't be sorry. It's part of the process. I only know that because I've heard so many people pronounce the name of the piece as sueño. That's the only reason why I really know it. But yeah, cool. Nice. Well, Jared, I got some dream jokes for you, so let's get to it. So, Why did so Jared, why did I go back to bed?
To wake up on the other side.
No, because you told me to follow my dreams.
Honey, I'm going to work. Give me my Tylenol PM. This is serious.
That's right. So Jared, what do you call wrong one, sorry. So last night I had a
Slipping
dream
on gator piss.
that I was swimming in an ocean of orange soda. What was it called?
Oh, I know the answer.
What is it?
Because that's one of my favorite drinks.
What is it?
Fantasy.
That's right. It's a fantasy. Very good, Jared.
Fanta Orange is one of my tops.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Maybe only second to Werner's. That's right. You heard it correctly.
Nice. So, Jared, why did I wake up exhausted this morning?
Why is that, Chad?
Because I dreamt I was a car.
Oh my God. You just got a giant out of me right there.
That's right.
It's like, damn it, I have to laugh at this.
And my last one for you, Jared, is how can you keep your dreams alive?
By never waking, by dying.
Nope. By hitting that snooze button.
Oh. I like my joke better, but admittedly, it's a little darker.
It's a lot darker, that's for sure. But
it is kind of clever. Keep your dreams alive by dying.
Oh, I didn't catch that. You're right. That is clever.
Parada.
Little oxymoron there. Okay, fair enough. Well, Jared, I think it's safe to say that
hashtag keep the dreams. That'll be my new podcast. Keep your dreams alive while dying.
There you go. Nice. Well, Jared, I think it's time that we send everybody off with a quote of the pod. And I think regardless of what your beliefs are in terms of spirituality, the subconscious, psychology, whatever that may be, I do think dreams offer us some insight into our lives, whether that be our mentality, our physical body, our hopes, our dreams, our worries,
past,
our concerns, our past,
or our present, or
and
future,
our future.
Excuse me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think, don't be afraid to roll out ancient Egyptian style, have a dream book, jot down your dreams, think about them. I always enjoy it. And let us know what some of your dreams are at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what some of your dreams are. Maybe Jared and I can send you a little dream analysis. Who knows if we'll be right, but to each his own. Or if you want to see some dreamy photos, check out our Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. Check out our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, for our dreamy song of the pod, Un Sueño en la Floresta, by Barrios, played by David Russell.
And
let us know.
And if the lawyers work it out, maybe we'll be back in person together next episode. Who knows?
That's right.
The lawyers are talking. I'm not allowed to talk about it till after I sign the NDA. That shit's pretty tight. It's
important. That's for sure. So let us know, though, what we could do to make this podcast. I'm going to stick with this dream theme here. And let us know what we can do to make our podcast even dreamier for you by giving us 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. It would mean the world to us. We would really appreciate it. And as always, we really thank you all for your support. Thank you for listening. And as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Dekuyeme a muchas gracias.